Hello, hello, and welcome back to the Greatest Love of All podcast. Today we are continuing a subject we've started the week before. Don't worry, if you haven't watched or listened to the previous episode, you are going to catch up really, really fast. We are discussing the topic of spirit and the Holy Spirit, and actually how incredibly not just what Christianity tells you, it is about a lot more than that. In the last episode, we've attempted to define the Holy Spirit, and I guess we've landed at the closest definition I can think of is the fact that I guess we are us, there is us as a soul, but then we are also part of something bigger. And it's just that connection, understanding that connection that we can be ourselves and also part of something more. And we've reached a point of wanting to really dive more into the practical aspect of it, Ingvar. So first of all, I'm Izabela and I'm joined by my co-host Ingvar. Hello.
Hello again.
Sorry, I was just so keen to dive right in. So Ingvar, first of all, how do we use is perhaps the wrong word, but how are we meant to understand it? And I don't want to say use, but I kind of mean use, as in like, how are we meant to use it in our day-to-day life? How was spirit meant to be part of our life? And like here in this, reality we are in, very physical, very firm, very squared, ruled by physical world and the rules around us. How are we meant to have this in our life? Like what's the reason for it?
To have a spirit?
Well, to kind of like, what are we meant to do with it? Like in here. In the normal life, when you wake up in the morning and you are like, okay, kids have messy rooms, they haven't done their homework, you've got boss on your head, the dog even, there you go, she is, come on, the dog wants a walk, how are we meant to, like, what's that, the spirit idea, how is that connecting with all of those kind of down to earth things? Yes, like the dog wanting a walk.
So you see, the answer, I think it will be simple on that question, because it is just, because it is a part of us. So when we are doing the simple things in our life, but we are not thinking about this, that the spirit, we are working with the spirit. Why we are working with the spirit? Because it is a part of the field, because this is the part of the consciousness, of our consciousness. But mostly our attention, it is not on this. It is, we put our attention on something another. When you prepare, for example, coffee for you, and you prepare something to eat when you just wake up on the morning. So just you have this attention. You put your attention on this preparing, but you are not thinking on some another things. You are not thinking that you are something bigger, but mostly because there are some people which are thinking about this, and they are thinking, wow, I am so big, I am so huge, I am a part of the world. So and that they know that the energy is flowing through them, and of course, so they are aware of this. But mostly people are just thinking about the something which is occupied their mind all the time. How to go to the money, and how to go to the work, and after take care of the children, and something like that. So they don't think about this. But when you are starting to consciously developing, so then you are in a process to know yourself. So when you meditate, when you observe yourself, so of course you start to observe and feel, you start to sense it, what is happening in you, what is happening in your heart, what is happening in your field. For some people, they are discovering that they have an aura, and they are trying to make this energy ball, for example. and trying to feel the field, and when they are putting the head and trying to, if they feel that there is something between their hand, where is the energy is concentrated, is the field. It is kind of, you know, feeling when you have a magnet, when you have
Yeah.
two magnets and with the same polarity. So
It's Star Wars, feel the power, feel the force, be part of the force.
yes,
It's literally what this is about, right? Like it's Star
yes,
Wars has encaptured that perfectly.
yes. So in a way, Star Wars is preparing people for the spiritual knowledge,
Yeah.
which maybe people are not aware of this, but some of them they are very aware. And when you are talking about the Star Wars, I remember when I was 7, I went on the first Star Wars episode. It was mind blowing for me. So I was 7 and I was listening about the Force and the feeling the Force. I saved this feeling, what I felt, and I was curious about. And
That was the beginning of Ingvar, Star Wars movie. I mean, it doesn't surprise me. It's like you watch it and you are thinking, actually,
Mhm,
it's really not far fetched.
mhm,
It really frustrates me greatly that people choose to be so closed to possibilities, that because you can't see it, that it shouldn't be there. Like, just not quite like that, right? Like, there's so many things we didn't know about 100 years ago, yet today we take it as a given, right? So it's kind of like that. I see the whole spiritual growth like that it's something we can't quite see. We don't have laws that define it. We haven't had Einstein who came in and just said, this is how it is, okay, yes, we've proven this is what it is. So people don't take it seriously. But I feel that it's one of those things that has such a power and potential to change your life if you only just paid a tiny, tiny little attention. But anyway, I digress. I'm sorry.
Okay, so maybe I will tell a bit more about the Star Wars, of course. And I was curious because probably you remember that was that the planet was destroyed.
Yeah.
Yes, the Jedi said that he felt after something strange, so that he felt that something changed in a field, in a force, that he felt that something bad was happening. And I was curious how this could be possible. But of course, I was 7, and later in the next episodes, that was probably I was 10 after. So I was curious about. So now I know how it is because and now we are go back to the spirit. So the spirit is the field. It's the moving field. So in this, the field is moving.
So actually, just like with the Jedi, the Force was their power, right? So is that
Mhm.
the field that gives us the power? So we could be the Jedi and that's our Force?
In a way, in a way. So you may say that everyone is a Jedi, but he
Yeah.
doesn't know that.
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
So, and of course, depend what side you will choose.
Yes. The dark side, the light, yeah.
The Jedi side,
Yes. My goodness. So
or
is,
people who are not aware of this.
yeah,
You saw that they were awake. The
Jedi.
Jedi were awake, and before they knew that is something, but they couldn't, describe how this is happened. But they were discovered, and there was the master who could guide them and explain how the force is working.
So, Ingvar, please be our master and explain how the force is working. Because it actually is a really easy way for a lame person like me to understand the concept of a spirit. Let's just bring a little bit of Star Wars into it because yes, so Jedi had the living force, right? So there was that the energy of living beings, but then there was the cosmic force, right? Which was the larger universal energy
Mhm.
that we can tap into.
Yes. So you see, they were channeling this force. It was explained that they may channel this energy, but for the and I think this is also because people are thinking that, of course, it is belongs only to you. The force, it is only belongs to you. This is describing in the Bible that how I don't remember now how it will be in English called, but there was a story that there was two sons, and of course the father was rich, and the one was left the family, but he left the family as a rich man and spent his money. And after when he back, the father, let him to be a part of the family again, and he give him again. But the another son was jealous a bit. He was trying to ask the father, why I was all the time with you, and why you gave to my brother those things what you have, that he could go on the same level as I am. But he got his money before and he spent this money. So why you took him again to the family? So you see, it is that people are thinking that you have this energy and you may use all the time, but it will be the time that you will spend this energy and you will not have this energy enough. So there is the solution to stay all the time in a source. So when you are staying in a source, so you can use a power. But I mean to use a power. The power have a own law. So when you use the power with the breaking law, so we are falling out from the power. But you may say, or someone will say, but we know that there are some other people who are using a force in a bad way. As, for example, we could see in the Star Wars that there was the Sith and they used the force in a bad way. But we are not trying to be a bad guys.
Hopefully not.
No, we are trying to be, a good guys.
We're the
Yes, we are.
Jedi.
Yes, yes. So we are trying. We are going in the good side of the force,
That's
right?
it. Can you tell me how to stay in that energy? Like, because you said that in order to continue, like not run out, you've got to be continually in that source, stay in the source. What does that mean practically? How do you stay inside the source?
When you are in the heart, when you have an open heart, you stay in the source.
Because you are always connected to that guiding force
Yes,
that
yes,
keeps you on that path forward. That
yes,
makes sense.
yes. So you stay with this, and you feel, because it is the part of you that you're developing. So you feel how energy works. You start to feel this, and of course you may do some exercise, as I show, that you may try to discover where this aura is. You may try to feel. Some people have this sense of feeling that something is warm, something is cold, or as a magnet, you may feel the field, yes. And when you have a magnet, two magnets, so and you just close them, and you feel it when
You feel
they
how
are
they,
opposites. Yes,
yeah,
they have this opposite.
yeah,
I
opposite
forget the word.
charge. It's the
Yes,
opposite
charge. So
charge.
then they are closed. Yes, they meet together. Yes, right. And but when they have the same charge, so then you will feel the field, and this is
Yeah.
you put this way, this way. So it is in a way the same. So you see, we have because we have this energy. So then we are a field. We are a field. We are electromagnetic field, and some scientists, of course, they made the discovering that every cells have a this electromagnetic field, and of course when you go to the doctor and have, for example, to measure your your brain activity, and you get some electrodes here and they measure the energy, right? So the same you have in a cell. So you are a producer of energy. So you produce all the time that your energy. So then, and of course you are channeling energy because you need the energy to work. So that's why you are eating a food, or some people, there are some people who are just not eating anything, only drinking water, watching at the sun. But I never try it.
No, I must say it never worked for me. But you know, when you talk about the energy, I think it's important to say that there are two types. Because
Yes.
whilst, yes, we have to feed the body, so there is
Mm-hmm.
the element of the energy for the body. So yes, you have to sleep, you have to
Yeah.
eat, right? That's
Yeah.
one. But the other is actually that inner energy that actually comes from beyond that, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
you need the physical aspect to carry your mental aspect, but you could have somebody who's eating, somebody who's sleeping, yet the inner strength, the inner energy is lacking. So you need to feed both. So we need to feed the
Because you need the different frequencies. Because on the top it is the same energy, which is on the top. I mean that on the beginning, I mean the same root, and from this root we have a different type of energies. So
yeah.
so you see, we need all different frequencies for our cells, and that's why I think it meant to be like that, to be here, to eat food. Yes, because then we are putting in our body the different energy, which is making us that we are able to be in this environment. You see?
Are we meant to eat meat? I must ask this now. So because there are people with really strong opinions about that by eating meat we are consuming the wrong energy, the wrong frequencies. Is that the case or not?
You see, it can be a very difficult topic. I mean, because for some people, they are very strict with this to not eat meat because it is the killing animals, right? And this is a bad energy, they are saying. This is also a judging the another people too. So it is depend, of course, what you do, because everyone is in a different place of your state of developing, and so he can think differently. The people can fight for fight with those people who are eating meat, but this is also the fight energy, and they will, for example, also may kill those which are killing the animals. So what then? You see?
I think that
And
that should be a topic in its own. I've just noted it down. I think that we need to talk about food, but in a different episode.
yes, but we know also the examples that there are some people who were only on this vegan diet, they already died. There was a few examples of it. It's quite famous in the last times. There was a few people who died from it. So you see, but this is the another
Yeah.
topic. But you see that if you are, it's easier when you are not eating a meat. It is easier for you that solve the energies, because also when you are eat something, but some food, of course, another body that can brings you the another frequency, low frequency. But on the top, what is on the top? So on the top, it is this pure energy, which is built from those bodies are built from this pure energy, right? Animals are built, and the same we are built from pure energy. So you see, it is depend, of course, if you want hurt something or you don't want hurt something. I will say that for those people who are eating meat, it is not that, they can't develop. It is possible to develop, and also it is possible for them because it is depend what you choose. But as I said, this is the another topic. We are talking about this spirit energy and how we can work with this spirit energy. I was telling that force. Yes, we can channeling the force and we can produce this force field and we can sense it. Of course, we are when you're thinking about the future or when we're thinking about a person which is, for example, 1,000 kilometers from us. For example, we are in Europe and we are talking with someone who is in America, for example. You are sending your energy. You are exactly there with this person, but you don't know this because this is your spirit goes there. And of course, the person from America, it is sending his spirit to you and you have a connection.
And actually, it happens a lot where, I'm sure it happened to you before where you were thinking of somebody and then all of a sudden they call, it's
Yeah.
you were just, a great example of this is I have an auntie in Australia and I have been thinking, oh my goodness, I haven't called her for a really long time. I must. And, it kept coming back. And then all of a sudden, she messages and say, oh, I've just been thinking about you, so it's kind of like that, right?
Yes. So you see, and how this has happened, because people are thinking that it's normally I have a time, to, for example, when I will go to the person, then I need to have a time, for example, to travel to America to meet this person. But in this, spirit environment, you don't need the time. There is no time. It is only a time to your adjustment, the time when you adjust with it. And part of your adjustment, it is of your thinking. The thinking, it is tuning. You are changing the frequency because when you are thinking about the person, you are changing the frequency also. And of course, you will remember about your frequency, but there is the connection. So you see, I mean that from this, you may get know that we are the spirit. We are big, but in this ordinary life, we are not thinking about this. You see, in this way, so you may say, wow, then I don't know myself. So you see, and then you are trying because there is a kind of feeling, this feeling that you are rich. So this was what I was telling some podcasts ago. So that when you are, a bigger, so you start to feel rich because there is no boundaries, which you thought that there is. But in this way, there is no. Of course, they are some, but you don't need any passport to travel. In this way, you may do some exercise to feel your energy and to try to observe your spirit, how your spirit works. Of course, there are some another examples that some people have a kind of ability to move the things. So because of the spirit, without the touching with a hand, for example. So they can move the things. With that, they are saying the power of thinking. Of course, they are thinking, but they are moving the things by their sport, by their spirits. And that's why you see it is the spirit which is moving, it is your spirit which is moving the things. That's why in this way you can get to know yourself. But some people, they will say, no, it is not you. It is not you are moving the things. It is the demons are moving the things, that demons are telling you that it is you. No. This is moved by your electromagnetic field. But, when, as I explained, you have a magnet and the magnet have a field. So when you do some changes, you discover, because normally in your life, you don't adjust your field in this way to move the things. For those people who have this ability, or they can just learn it, they are doing this. So, but I'm telling only this for example to explain how the Spirit works. And of course, when we have this Holy Spirit, and we know that we have a spirit too, because this is a part of our consciousness, and so we want that the Holy Spirit will work and teach us. So, but mostly it is like that we want this use for our, life in our thinking. We can't use this as we think. As I said some podcasts ago, this have a law, and we can't work against the law. So we have to observe and let us to be in this state. So then we can, because we are producing the another state, because we are coming from this, but we are in a way lefting the state for us to produce our life. So when we are in a trouble, we are asking for help.
I like that. And I think that it brings us somehow closer to the idea of spirit, to the principles that guide it and guide us as a result. And I have a feeling we will dive into the concept of spirit again. I don't think that we've exhausted the possibilities that it brings. I don't think we've exhausted the topic at all, Ingvar. So thank you so much for tuning in today. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't done so already. And come back next week as we bring you more on the fascinating topic of spiritual growth and all that goes with it, I guess. So thank you so much for watching.
Okay, so let's use your spirit, make exercise to know yourself better, and see you again on the next podcast. And please subscribe our channel.
I thought you were going to say use the force.
Yes.
Which is what you need to do. You've got to use the force.
Yes, use the force to make a like and subscribe our channel.
Perfect.